Hey YouTube land, Tycandros here doing another action figure review. Now today I'm doing a Masters of the WWE Universe wave. I think it's wave, I want to say wave 6. I can't remember which wave this is. I know we've gotten the final two waves recently, which were a mass retail release. This was one of the waves that was still a Walmart exclusive wave, so I managed to pick this up on... Well, I managed to pick three of the four figures on eBay as part of a lot, except they had swapped in an extra, or instead of Ultimate Warrior here, they had swapped in a Roddy Piper from the previous wave, which I've already reviewed. So this wave consists of Stephanie McMahon, the evil billion-dollar Skull Queen. Unfortunately, I cannot find the pack-in mini comics that came with these. I've been searching all around for them. So if I flip around the back of the box, you can see there people in, or the characters in this wave is Goldberg, the heroic human jackhammer, who is basically a homage to Rahman, and I'm just after realizing that I brought the wrong weapon with him. He actually comes with Rahman's axe and not the axe that I have with him in this video, so I'm going to point that out in a minute. Basically, I was messing around with him because both him and the PowerCon exclusive Grizzlor come with the same weapons Rahman has, so this guy comes with Rahman's single-bladed axe, whereas Grizzlor comes with the double-bladed axe, and I unfortunately gave him the double-bladed axe instead of the actual single-bladed one that he's supposed to come with. My bad. Sorry about that. So this is for Stephanie McMahon. So she has the Arm, Crystal Ball, and Skull Queen mask. Ultimate Warrior, which is the heroic champion of WWE Eternia, and Kane, the demonic red machine. So on the back, you have really cool card art. This is her sitting in a, what looks like almost like Skeletor's throne with the skull mask on and the scepter, or the crystal ball. Ultimate Warrior, again, has how to put the armor on, stuff like that. And it has a little brief bio. Load the spaceship with the rocket fuel. All fuses and the exit signs have been burned out. There's no place to run. The power of the Ultimate Warrior will always prevail. There's this, it looks like him bursting out of like a drop pod type thing with his heroic cloak and He-Man style armor. Kane has a Roboto style gimmick to him, or Roboto slash trap jaw. So basically, his little burlap is rebuilt in the Hellfire and Brimstone. The man once known as Kane is now cyborg powerhouse known as the Big Red Machine, come to destroy all in WWE Eternia. And last but not least, we have Goldberg's box. So as you can see, I do have the wrong axe with him. Unfortunately, I grabbed the wrong one while I was heading out over to where I do my reviews. Many superstars of the WWE Eternia have tried to take down the hero they call Goldberg, but all have fallen. There is one question for future challengers: who's next? So, boxes out of the way. We'll get out to the figures themselves. So we'll start with Goldberg, as he wants to fall over. You just get these guys to stand, well, these fine folks to stand. So here is Goldberg in all his Goldberginess. So as I said, unfortunately I put the wrong axe in his hand. He's supposed to have the axe that comes with Rahman. This is also the same axe that comes with Rahman, the Origins version. He has like a plug on the bottom of it, so it can plug the two together. That's why I had him wielding the two axes at one point. So he comes with the Rahman armor, which is a softer gummy kind of plastic, and he has a removable helmet. Unlike Rahman's helmet is part of his head sculpt. You can actually take off Goldberg's, and you can take off all the gear on Goldberg. I think you can even take off these bracers. What's interesting about him is he actually has black gloves on. Most of the characters, with a few exceptions, all tend to have bare hands, like bare painted hands and no gloves. I think there's only a handful of characters that have the hands. One thing I was also wanted to point out with these wrestling figures is they tend to have closed fists for their left hands compared to most of the Master of the Universe. Again, there is a few exceptions to this rule. Kane being one, because he reuses parts from Roboto. But for the most part, they'll either have a grasping hand or a closed fist, which is interesting. They don't seem to have that open kind of splayed palm hand. But all the articulation and part swapping is present on these guys, so you can pop these guys' arms off and swap them with other figures. Depending on which figure you go with, the skin tone may vary. So they have waist swivels, they have joints at the elbows, joints at the shoulders, they have a elbow bend. Now, for Goldberg here, his arm straps will get in the way a little bit. Same with the knees. The knee pads do tend to block that knee bend. You don't get the full bend with the knees, but you get most of it. The legs can splay out, can kick forward. You have a swivel at the boot cut. You have a rotation at the knee as well. You have the hands or the wrists on pegs and have a joint on them, and the legs or feet are on rocker ball joints, so you get a good range of movement on these guys. His body armor is removable. I won't do it on screen because it is a pain in the butt to get back on the body, but if you wanted to, you could just, instead of actually taking it off, I think I might be able to slide it off. And if I take the arms off, I might be able to just slide it over the head instead of, yes, I can actually do that. So you don't actually have to unhook the straps on it. You can just take it off, and if you want to take these off as well, you're left with a fairly plain wrestling version of Goldberg, who I'm not too familiar with wrestling-wise. I recognize the name. He's a little after my time. I don't remember much about him, but you can still have him with a helmet on if you want, which is kind of cool. Moving on to the next figure in the wave, we'll go with the heroic Ultimate Warrior. Again, he's a legend-style character, just like with was it Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, and who else was there? Was it Steamboat? That Dragon Steamboat guy, which I don't remember him much at all. But again, so you can see he doesn't have the elbow pads, so his articulation in the elbow is a little less restricted. The one thing I will say about him is his head is not very posable, but when you have this big cloak thing, it is separate in the box. And these guys do have the ability to pop the heads off and take off, and you can swap the heads with other characters. So if I pop his head back on, he has a lot more range of movement with the head. This giant cloak piece, I don't know if this is a reuse of Classics parts, because they tend, for Mattel, for most of the Masters of WWE stuff, they tend to use a lot of Masters of the Universe Classics parts to swap in. So some of the weapons were from Classics, some of the armor pieces were from Classics. This piece I'm not familiar with. I'm not sure if it's completely newly sculpted just for this figure. I would doubt it is, but I'm sure someone, hopefully maybe in the comments, will be able to tell me if it is sculpted. It does look like it was designed for something else, because there is a kind of fold in it that looks like it folded over a shoulder, a specific style of shoulder. So I don't know, it could be from Classics. It's just a part that I don't recognize. Without this, he has a lot more range of movement. It does hinder his arms when he has it on, and it doesn't really hinder the legs or the waist swivel, but he has a lot more range of movement. And just for a comparison, this is the second version of Ultimate Warrior, this being the first. And what's interesting, it's basically the same figure, even down to the parts use. It's just the paint apps. He doesn't have his chest tattoo. If you take off the harness, I do that there actually. Sorry. If I take off the chest harness, you see there's no paint tattoo on the chest. unlike the first version. So somewhere along the line, he must have gone to someone to get laser off his chest tattoo. But paint-wise, figure-wise, it's the same figure. And he's also managed to dye his hair in between going for whichever championship belt he was going for. So there's that. The original one does come with a spear. The newer one doesn't have any actual grasp hands. He just has two closed fists, so he can't actually hold a spear. You could swap the hands around, but if you can see, he also looks like he's gone. When he first was released, he looks like he went to a tanning salon, and the second one doesn't look as tan. So there's a skin variation between the two. So if you wanted to swap parts between them, it would look a bit weird. Other than that, he has pretty much the same parts, and he has that new cloak. You can give the cloak to the other version, but again, you're going to restrict. If I pop his head off, you can give that part to it, and you're going to restrict the head movement if you can even get the head on with this harness piece. The He-Man harness piece is a little bit thinner, so, but you can, in theory, put that red cloak on it. It looks a bit weird with all the colour clashing, but you can do it. So, I just knocked stuff over. On to Kane, who actually out of the entire wave, even though I'd say Kane is one of my favourites out of this wave, Goldberg being second because of the whole Ram Man look to him. He looks pretty cool with all the gear armoured up. And then Stephanie, Ultimate Warrior, is really the least favourite out of it because of the restrictions with the cloak. Kane himself is pretty cool. Now, the one thing about Kane, unlike the other wrestlers, where you can't really take off any of the gear to make him look more like a standard, you know, just normal wrestler. Whereas with the other guys, you can, or the other figures, you can tend to remove all the gear and they look kind of like their standard wrestling counterparts. Kane, on the other hand, does not. He has these big mechanical red arms. He has his head, which has a mask on it, but it looks, he doesn't have like a face underneath. It's like robotic underneath. And his hair is actually translucent red, or not translucent red, translucent orange. So even if he didn't have the arms, he'd still look a bit weird with kind of translucent fiery hair. He has 2 arm attachments. So unlike Roboto, who has 3, he only has 2. So he has this blaster effect, which comes with blast effect, which comes with for the blaster, which is quite nice. It fits on that quite nicely. I'm trying to remember which. I'm pretty sure Roboto has 3 attachments. Just trying to remember what the 3 attachments are. Arm just plugs out, and you have the graspy claw attachment. So there is that. His arms are exactly the same as Roboto, and in fact, if I bring in Roboto, I have him here, you can see he's mostly a reused parts. The legs are technically, if you want to be, I think Roboto used them first in this line. I'm trying to remember who came out first. Is either Trapjaw or Roboto. They're basically the same legs as Trapjaw as well, from Origins. So you have that going on. And you have the arms, as you can see, are the exact same as Roboto. And this is what I meant earlier about the hands. He has this open hand for instead of like a punching fist. So it is different to the other figures. And if you do have Roboto, what's cool about this is the blast effect from Kane will actually fit Roboto's blaster hand not just as well. So you have an option of that for Roboto. If you go all the way out and, you know, track one of these down just for that one piece. But overall, he's a pretty cool figure. He has all the same articulation. You can swap out parts. And he has all the same rotations, all that. These guys do pop up a heart at the waist as well. I should note that, so that when you do have other figures, you can swap waists around and stuff like that. And then on to the final figure of this wave, which is the Stephanie McMahon figure. Now this is the second female figure in this line, if I remember correctly. The first being Becky Lynch. So there's only, as far as I know, there's only 3 female wrestling figures that they released. Becky Lynch being the first, Stephanie McMahon being the second, and the last one is Chyna. So you have that. This one reuses parts from Evelyn slash Tila. So you have the Evelyn's Tila's arms, you have the Evelyn Tila sort of crotch piece. The legs, as far as I know, are the same as well, but the boots are more wrestlers designed boots. They're like long, big, tall boots, as opposed to the kind of armored boots that the Tila and Evelyn have. The waist piece and the head is new, even though the head does look like Evelyn. In fact, if I think I do have an Evelyn with me, possibly. Or do I? I may not. Unfortunately, I don't. I thought I had an Evelyn so I could compare her. Unfortunately, I don't. But as far as I know, the parts that are reused are the arms and the legs, the upper legs and waist piece, and the lower legs as far as the boot. Again, same articulation as the others. The arms can rotate around. You can even do the part swap on these ones. So the arms can pop out. You can swap them with other figures. So if you have people like Goddess or not, Eternia Guardian, the Sorceress, Evelyn or Tila herself, you can swap parts with those. Or if you have the other female wrestling figures like Chyna, Becky Lynch, you can swap them with those as well. Arms are on a swivel or elbow bend and joint. Wrist has a rotation and hinge. Head is a slight bit hindered because of the hair sculpt. I really like this kind of black and silver style helmet that she has. Now it is non-removable, so again she's another one that would be kind of less wrestling accurate and more fantasy based accurate. So like, you don't have the option of taking the helmet off and having like the plain head to give her a more natural wrestling look. But overall, she's really cool. She does come with 2 accessories which are pretty nice. This comes with this crystal ball staff, which is really a homage to Evelyn's version. It has even the claw at the top with the crystal ball. Now, the only thing is the main body of it is different, whereas Evelyn's is just a plain rod kind of type thing, a plain stick. This has bone. It looks like it's 2 bones welded together, which is pretty cool. So you can give this to Evelyn if you want and make it look like she has a really cool staff. And then the other thing she has is this mask piece. It's not a full face mask or a full helmet piece like Triple H's. It is designed to be Triple H's skull mask that the evil Triple H, the WWE Triple H uses. So you have that. And there's 2 indents. I'm not sure if you can see them on camera. There's 2 indents at the bottom of her helmet that this just plugs into. So again, it's not a full helmet, just like the, well, it does become a full helmet technically, but it's not a full helmet piece like on Triple H where it just goes over his head and is completely removable. But it does then tend to pop off if you start moving the head around to the side, because these kind of armor link pieces that kind of come down, I think it's like chainmail basically, that come down the head, kind of get in the way of the head movement. But it's better just leaving it off and just giving her the scepter. The scepter looks really good in her hand, and overall it is a really nice wave. So that's it for this wave. I'm hoping to get through a couple of other waves. And so overall, I think these are really good figures. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Mattel decided not to release them, most of these, over here in Europe. So getting these in Europe is pretty hard. Most of mine I've had to source through eBay, or friends in the States that were able to pick 1 or 2 up for me, with the exception of the last 2 waves, which I think only 1 of them is available at the time of this recording for pre-order, which is the second last wave with 4 figures, which is the second last wave is the Junkyard Dog wave, Rey Mysterio, Chyna, I think it's Chyna. No, it's not Chyna. It's Sergeant Slaughter and wait, no, I'm getting that wrong. It's actually the last wave is the one that's available for pre-order, which is the Rey Mysterio, Stone Cold, and China wave. So it's only a 3-figure wave for the last one. Initially, rumors from what I've heard, it was supposed to have 4 figures, and the 4th figure was supposed to be Big Show, but for some reason they pulled that figure last minute. So we'll go through the next waves and see what I like on it and what I don't like. But overall, this wave was pretty strong. The Stephanie McMahon figure, pretty much all of them bar the second version of Ultimate Warrior. It could have been used for some other character, really, that slot. But overall, it's a really good wave. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video review. And as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.